Hey everybody, it's Seth and Paul for the Everything Money channel. You will make $2 million more money by not paying off your house early. I guarantee it. Your Uncle Paul guarantees it.
This video will make you $2.4 million more. I promise you.
Watch it right now on the Everything Money channel. Let's go.
Just watching this video.
Paul, I've met some people in my life who, and I was one of them, wanted to pay off their house very quickly.
As soon as possible.
At some point, when we're going through our mid-30s or we get our house a few years later down the line, we start hearing these rumblings that we should just pay this thing off as fast as possible, keep throwing all of our money at it. That way, because when you pay it down, Paul, you're going to save all that interest money. I was doing this. I think I might have got close to like double payment. Not double payments. That's a lot. Over a course of
on your house in Columbus, right?
Yeah, my house in Columbus, I was making at least one extra payment a year because that.
Yeah, there's a thing where if you have a 30-year mortgage, you make one extra payment, it knocks it down to like 22 years.
Yeah. So
something like that. I don't know what the exact numbers are.
So you've told me this for years. I want you to tell our new viewers. Thank you to all of our new viewers. I want you to tell our new viewers and our current viewers again the idea of what this is doing to their overall wealth over the course of a lifetime by paying off their house early, and you're probably not going to like it. Go ahead, Paul. Tell us what you think.
So this is going to be a very analytical video. We got a lot of numbers. Seth, it's very, very important that somebody asked me recently, does Seth really not understand sometimes? I'm like, yeah, Seth is really asking questions as we go along.
Thank you, whoever said that. Yes, I'm an idiot.
We don't prep this. So when we do this video, there's going to be a lot of back and forth. What I'm trying to show is, so Dave Ramsey is a very popular guy.
Yes.
He's very big on no debt, right? Very big on paying down your mortgage, paying off your house as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, this is also something having to do with Robert Kiyosaki in a way. So Robert Kiyosaki will always sit there and say you shouldn't finance a depreciating asset.
This is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad series, if you haven't read that. But go ahead, Paul. Now,
what does the depreciating asset have to do with a house? Because houses tend to appreciate in value. Mm-hmm. Nobody understands the reason why, understands interest rates. What I'm going to show in this video is we're going to actually look at paying off your house in 15 years versus 30 years and the difference in wealth over that time by instead of paying it off quickly, you pay it off in a longer period of time and you invest the money along the way into stocks and things like that.
So for most of us, we're getting a 30-year mortgage, and then we're told if we can make extra payments, it's going to save us $100,000 in interest money that we're going to pay to the bank.
And that's what people say, like, look at all the interest you're paying.
Yes.
It's the single angle look as opposed to what does that interest really mean, okay?
Dive into it. Let's go.
So first off, the general rule right now is, and this is something that's very important, if you can borrow at 3% and you can make 10%, what should you do, Seth?
Oh, I would be borrowing at 3 all the time and then making 10.
That is the big underlying principle behind a mortgage.
Seems so simple. Yeah.
When we're paying, basically the rule is when you're paying down debt at 3%, you're giving yourself a 3% return on your money.
Now, you've said this before, and I'm going on 40 years old, Paul. I never actually comprehended this, and maybe you're not either if you're watching. Say it again, Paul, and explain it for some dummy like me.
When you have a high credit card, for example, and you have a 20% interest, people will say, well, should I pay it down? Yes, you should, because you're basically paying yourself a 20% return on your money by paying down the debt. Because now you're being charged less. You're not being charged 20% of that extra money.
Yeah.
So the same thing goes with your house. When you're paying down your house at 3%, which right now is the going rate on a 30-year mortgage.
Yes.
When you pay it down extra, you're giving yourself a 3% return on that money you're paying down. Is that good?
Not really at all. No, it's terrible. Like we talked about dividend stocks on our past podcast, which, by the way, if you've been watching, please like and subscribe. Go ahead right now, smash that like button.
And we're going to put a picture of me when we were younger.
We've been doing this. Right now we'll show a picture of Paul when he's a young chap, just a young Iraqi boy on the cusp of manhood with his milky skin. But how can you not like this picture, folks? How can you not like this? Please take a moment, like this video. Paul needs his likes. He's like Taylor Swift. He monitors his likes on a minute-by-minute basis.
I think I actually
Paul,
do.
You're right. I mean, I guess, say I was making an extra $1,500 a year payment on my house.
Well, yeah.
I literally have $1,500 in my hands, and I can do something with it.
Yep.
And I was choosing it to send it to my mortgage company so I can get a 3% return. In my case, it was probably 4, but a 4% return.
Right. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to show a timeline. We're going to show age 30 to age 60. Okay, so that's a 30-year mortgage, 30-year time period. There's going to be two situations, one in which you have a 15-year mortgage, and then you have an extra 15 years of savings, and the other of which is you have a 30-year mortgage, and you save a little bit along the way, because on a 15-year mortgage, your payment's a lot higher, correct?
Yeah.
We're going to show these two sets of numbers. It's going to get pretty analytical, but we're going to skip some steps, show people how it's being done to show the difference in the long run, okay?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at a mortgage for $250,000 at 3%. On a 15-year mortgage, your payment is $1,730 per month, okay?
Yep.
On a 30-year mortgage, you're at $1,050 per month. To make it easier, we're just going to sit there and say there's a $700 difference per month.
Okay.
Do you understand this?
Yes.
So this is very simple. 15-year mortgage, 30-year mortgage, $700 difference. So over a 30-year period of time, you're sitting here and saying for the first 15 years, you're not going to be able to save this extra $700 all going to your mortgage. But for the second 15 years, this is going to go to zero, and this is still going to exist, right? So that's the difference here. We have, over a period of time, on the 15-year mortgage, you have zero going into savings because it's all going to your mortgage. But in the last 15 years, you have $1,730 going to your savings, correct?
Yes.
In the 30-year mortgage, we'll put 15 up here and 30-year here. You're putting $700 every single month for the next 30 years in your savings, okay?
Yes.
But if you remember from a past video, Seth,
Yes.
the earlier you save, the better.
Viewers, if you are already getting bored of these numbers, please stick with us. I'm telling you.
This is well worth it.
I came from a family that spent all of our money. Through my 20s, I spent all my money. I started saving, and I have a very nice retirement. Taking these numbers in mind, I have this incredible peace of mind about how much money I'm going to have when I'm older, Paul.
Yeah.
And it's because through your guidance. So stick with us. Keep going, Paul.
Okay, so this is the basic outline of what we're going to do here. On a house that we owe $250,000 on, is it reasonable to assume the house is worth $300,000? Right? You put $50,000 down. Right now, you can buy a house for 5% down very easily. So I'm just going to assume a $300,000 house, which is about the average new house these days.
Sure.
Around the country. You're going to have a $250,000 mortgage. Inflation is about 3%, so your house can go up in value by 3% a year. Seth.
Yes.
Will your house go up in value by 3% a year, whether you have a 30-year mortgage, a 15-year mortgage, or a zero-year mortgage?
Always go up.
Always go up.
Yes.
And in terms of it's going to be the same no matter what mortgage you have.
That's right. It's not going to change.
So your $300,000 house at 3% per year in 30 years is worth $730.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. That's the great thing.
Okay.
So 3% a year is $730,000.
Got it.
No matter what your mortgage is, you're going to have a $730,000 asset in 30 years paid off.
Great.
Correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, if you have a 15-year mortgage, in the first 15 years, all of your money is going towards that mortgage, right? $1,730 a month is going towards that mortgage. So the first 15 years, you're saving $0 extra.
Yes.
Okay.
That's bad.
But then your house is paid off in 15 years.
Great.
For the next 15 years, you're saving that $1,730 into your savings account. Mm-hmm. And in the stock market, over long periods of time, what can you expect to make? What have we always said?
10%?
About 10%.
Yeah.
So in that situation, we have a 15-year mortgage. At the end of 30 years, the first 15 years, you save nothing. But the next 15 years, you're 15 to 30, you save $1,730 a month at 10%, which equals $717,000.
Okay.
So at the end of 30 years, you now have $730,000 house paid off and $717,000 in an account.
Pretty good.
For a total of $1.447 million.
Wow.
Right? Not bad.
Not bad.
However, the 30-year mortgage, you save $700 a month off your 30-year mortgage. Again, your house is still worth $730.
Yes.
But now, $700 a month over 30 years at 10%, that alone is $1.58 million. So before, and then you have to add in the house value.
I don't believe it.
Well, believe it all you want. You're at $2.312 million. Folks, would you rather have a net worth of $2.3 million or $1.4 million? And what's the big key here? The big key here is you're paying 3% interest over here on your mortgage. So why wouldn't you carry it out as long as you can? Because then you can reinvest the money at 10% a year for those 30 years. That's the big key that Dave Ramsey is missing. Yes. I get it. If you were to sleep better at night, knowing your mortgage is paid off, great. But I want you to understand how much that good night's sleep is costing you. In 30 years, it is costing you $700,000, $800,000 difference. Does this make sense?
Once you pounded this into my mind, giggity, I would tell friends who are adamantly trying to do this. They're listening to Dave Ramsey. They're paying off their house.
Yep.
And I say to them something to the effect of, like, your house has a certain value, as you say. And along the way, it has a certain value.
Regardless of what your mortgage is.
And if you owe $0 on your house or $10 million on the same house, you still have to sleep in it, take care of it. Your kids are there. It's the same damn thing.
And all the while, you're still working. It's not like from 30 to 60 you're not working.
Yes.
I'm only assuming this goes to 60 years old. The next step we're going to do is go, hey, you're going to live probably to 90 or 100 now, kids these days.
Yes.
What does this mean? What does this difference mean over that 30 or 40 years? Guys, we're talking about millions and millions of dollars. And for you who have kids out there,
yes,
would you rather leave them with millions or grandkids, millions and millions of dollars when you die at 90? Or would you rather just sit there and say, no, but it's okay because I really wanted to pay that mortgage off at 3%?
People keep saying, but when my house is paid off, now I get that money and I can go do something with it.
Great, and that's what you're doing with it. You're costing yourself $800,000. Congratulations.
Unbelievable.
I want everybody to understand this. I'm very fortunate financially.
How so?
I have enough money in my checking account to pay off my mortgage, just in my personal checking account. Mm-hmm. I still have a mortgage. Why? Because I know I can go invest that money in granted, my personal checking account, I should put it in my brokerage account and go invest it in real estate. But the whole point is, I have a mortgage.
Yes.
I always try to max out my mortgage, more or less. I want to put a big enough mortgage number where if I sold my house, I know I'm going to cover that mortgage all the time.
This is one of your pillars you described many years ago, is using smart debt,
This
which is just a
smart
weird
debt.
way to say it.
If you're going to live in this house for a long period of time, and by the way, maybe it's not when you're 30. Maybe you buy your house, your final house when you're 40. You're still going to work. Everybody here needs to understand you're going to work until you're 70. You're going to have to realize that. Because Social Security is not going to be there for you. As the economy, as people live longer and longer, you need to be able to work longer and longer to be able to pay for that lifestyle. So we're talking about a $800,000 difference in your entire net worth at the age of 60, all because you wanted to have a paid off mortgage faster.
$800,000.
$800,000. We're talking about $2.3 million net worth versus $1.45 million. It's almost $800,000 difference. It is $800,000 difference. It's it's over $800,000 difference.
That's a lifetime of savings right there.
That's the point. All because Dave Ramsey tells you you need to be able to sleep at night better at the age of 45 versus age of, come on.
This is why I want to bring this up, Paul. I think, so you and I describe, and I'm saying is I don't think maybe you watching out there know that investing in this 10% stock market is as easy as getting on Fidelity, Charles Schwab, like literally
5 or 10 minutes.
5 or 10 minutes. You can send them $100,000.
No, you can send them $1,000.
$1,000.
You can
or everything you have.
Or everything you have.
Or right now, it can be done. It can go on Fidelity, sign up, get your social, get it all done, and go invest. Go ahead, Paul.
The other thing is, when you have your 15, if you want to discipline yourself, these accounts, Fidelity and Schwab, you can automatically pull out that $700 a month extra out of your account.
Yes.
So if you want to have the psychological, I have a 15-year mortgage, just pay your regular mortgage and take the $700 out. And it's the same payment here, except now you're saving a separate account and you're buying stocks with it. You're buying ETFs with it.
Yeah.
Now, let's take it one step further.
Go ahead, Paul.
Now, here's the big kicker, Seth. Your brokerage account in the 30-year scenario is 1.58. In this 15-year scenario, you would pay off your house, it was $717. So we have $1.58 million at the age of 60. Let's call it $1.6 million versus $700,000. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's a big difference, right? And I'm rounding up and down, so it looks like $900,000. If you're going to retire at 70, what's that difference in value? So what's $1.6 million over 10 years at 10%? So 10 years of growth at 10% at 1.6 million, you're talking about $4.2 million.
No way.
Right. Did I do that right?
Yeah, because everyone says money sort of doubles over the course of 7 years. So you're
there
at 3.2, add 3 more.
And that same, now, the same money, the $700,000 you had, is 1.8 million. Guys, is this not obvious to you? So the age of 70, you cost yourself $2.4 million.
No way.
Because you listen to Dave Ramsey and you want to sleep better at night. And when you were 30 and your mortgage is paid off at 45, how much more money are you making at 45? You're probably making significantly more money. Is the $700 a month really going to matter?
It's really hard when you're young to pay that high of a. That's what I was doing.
But when you're 30, you should buy the most expensive house you can afford. I believe that. Not going crazy, not like, oh my God, I got to sacrifice this. Within reason. Put your money down, put your 10% down, pay down your mortgage, because you don't want to cost yourself $2.4 million at the age of 70. And that's what you're costing yourself by paying off your mortgage faster on a $250,000 mortgage. Because you listened to Dave Ramsey. You went and gave him $40 for that book, and you sat there and said, I don't want to have debt. Debt-free is the way to go. Sounds good. Debt-free is the way to go. $2.4 million. Go send him that bill for $2.4 million at the age of 70.
You can thank your Uncle Paul for this advice by smashing the like button. Again, he does monitor these likes like a little
schoolgirl.
Yes, he's giddy.
I answer all. I mean, Don will verify. We have 45, 50 comments in some of our videos, and I am on that. Like I respond to those things. I check that thing all the time to make sure I respond to people. This is extremely important, and this drives me nuts. Because everybody thinks to themselves, like, oh, this is great. Like, I'm going to pay off my house. I'm going to have a free and clear house. Yippee.
We have an avid podcast follower. Shout out to Brady in California.
And Brady's changed his mentality because of this.
He has changed his...
He said this in a phone call to me the other day.
He was gung-ho. I'm telling you, for the past 5 years, I'm paying off the house, Dave Ramsey's, my Jesus incarnate. And sure enough, he's slowing down, and he wants to invest in real estate, Paul.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Because how old's Brady?
So young.
He's
almost 10 years younger than us.
Yeah, I was going to say. He's 30, right?
Yes.
So he's already started with a leg up. I mean, we're talking about millions of dollars this guy's going to have extra. Not millions of dollars, period. Extra. By just listening to this. So we made him how much money? And I really do mean this, guys. Like, you really don't understand how basic this is to me. But people don't learn these things in school. And instead, we go on YouTube and listen to idiots like me who say things. And I'm sure somebody out there will say like, oh, what Paul doesn't get is, what happens if there's a recession? I get it. There are going to be people out there who are going to be hit hard and all that. But the whole point is, if you put a reasonable amount of money down on your house and you pay down and you're responsible and you save, even the 30-year mortgage, is it easier to pay a $1,000 mortgage every month or a $1,700 mortgage a month if things get tight?
Yeah, when things get tight, that extra payment is tough.
It's going to matter.
Yeah.
So not only are you giving yourself a more manageable payment, you're also paying your retirement. You are having your cake and eating it too. There is literally no reason in my book, apart from emotional reasons, to ever pay off your mortgage early. In fact, when you're 60...
What are you going to say, Paul?
Listen, I shouldn't say that. I do believe in retirement. I would say sell your house and buy a smaller house and just pay cash for it. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I look at this saying, this is absolutely, stupid that we tell people pay off your mortgage, pay off, especially right now with interest rates where they are. Now, if interest rates were like the 80s where it's 10%, you're basically giving yourself the same return as the stock market. Okay, I can understand that. But we're talking about 3% interest here, guys. We're talking about millions of dollars difference. I want everybody to remember this. This is not how much money you'll have. This is the difference between how much money. You'll have $4.2 million in net worth just in your brokerage account.
Yeah, plus a house.
Plus the house. The house after 10 years is then worth probably $900,000.
Now, you'll have the house on both sides.
Correct. That's why I didn't include it.
But still.
$5.1 million net worth just by listening to Uncle Paul.
How many people in this world...
You can please send me a check for $50,000.
How many people in this world at the age of 70 have that much money?
Oh.
Minuscule.
But remember, 40 years from now, 5.1 million is like $1.2 million, $1.3 million today. Okay. So there is a difference. But the whole point is, would you rather have today's value of 5.1 or today's value of 2 with the house in there, 2.7, 2.6? Come on, this is a no-brainer. And we teach people, pay off your mortgage, pay off. I love it when people I'll hear people who are like, well, yeah, but I have my house paid off. I'm like, you're 47. I'm like, what are you trying to do here? Again, the emotional aspect I can't argue with.
Sure.
All I'll say to you is your emotion worth $2.4 million? is your ability to sleep at night, as people claim they can't sleep at night with a mortgage. Really? I mean, is that really what we believe? Is it worth $2.4 million to you? That's your decision.
If you're still confused, like I was for many years, about taking this money and investing it, feel free to watch any of the couple hundred videos we've already put out about where to smartly put your investments in the real estate. We're not talking day trading, following Tesla or crazy stocks.
You said, yeah.
We're talking about standard ETFs.
And even investing in a local, I mean, we're going to do a deal of the week soon where a YouTube video watcher reached out to me and said, hey, I'm looking at this deal and where your sister lives in Dayton.
Yeah.
And I literally looked at it going, holy crap, you got to buy this thing. I mean, it was a 25% return for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's Dayton, Ohio. Nobody wants to be in Dayton. So he found a deal, and I'm just like, dude, this is a great return.
There's some gorgeous places in Dayton. I was just
there. Of course there are. And he found a two-family in an area he's familiar with and doesn't live far from. And I'm like, dude, 25% return. If he does one of those a year, he'll be worth tens of millions of dollars.
Incredible.
And the kid's 23 years old.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are things you can do, and it's not out of the realm for you to do these. Paul, give us the at-home people your take on financial. If they want to do something with their money, do they need a financial advisor? That was a deep sigh.
Because Seth, do they need a financial advisor? If you think the financial advisor knows about investing, you are wrong. If you're going to them for somebody to talk to when times are bad, fine, I get that. Mm-hmm. Or just subscribe to our YouTube channel, because when times are bad, you're going to hear me talk about why they're good. Like, when times are good right now, I'm talking about why the next 10 years are going to be bad. When times are bad, when stocks are lower, what am I going to be saying?
How great the growth is going to be coming up.
Guys, be patient. You will do better. You're going to be doing better. The next 10, 15 years are going to be much better for you. So I look at that saying, it's kind of like our own personal financial advisor. I look at it saying, the only reason I have a financial advisor is if you need the emotional support of having to be able to talk to somebody. But I'm going to tell you right now, they probably aren't really a financially competent person. You know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of financial advisors who are on the brink of bankruptcy half the time. So you sit there and say, why do we listen to them? Because we're taught that, they sell investment products, therefore they know investments. That's not the case at all. You only do it if you really want to emotionally, but I would ask any of the financial advisors I know out there, explain this to me. They can't do it.
They couldn't?
Oh, no. They'd be like, well, let me get my I'm like, come on. I did this all with an iPhone calculator. Give me a break. They would have to somebody do it for them. I look at this saying, this is very basic investment stuff, in my opinion.
Paul, give the viewers a take home before you leave.
Do not pay off your house fast. If you are young and you're buying a home and you have a solid career where there's going to be growth in there, don't pay off your house fast. Put the money in another account, in a Schwab, in a Fidelity, in an E-Trade account, TD Ameritrade, I don't care what it is, every single month, and save that money, and every single month buy your ETFs, and just don't even think about it, and just keep doing it over and over and over again. And when you wake up at the age of 60, you're going to have a nice little nest egg.
Thank you for watching the video on Everything Money with Seth and Paul. Like and subscribe. Follow our videos. Paul and I will be doing this podcast till we're dead in the ground, and we hope you're along on the ride with us. Thanks, guys. See ya.